Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, and toxic relationship advice channel. Yes, and I use trial stories, I use crime stories, different teaching tools to help people to date smart and not thirsty. And a lot of these things say real stories, so we can learn from them because this could be you. Alright, so if you need to know about this topic here, make sure you read the description so you get an idea what this trial is that's currently going on. So far they went through week 1. So this week is going to be week 2. And I believe they're resuming on Wednesday. And I might be able to go live in the daytime on Wednesday and stream it while it's live. But we'll see. But today we're going to focus on day 5, right? Now on day 5, we had the chief medical examiner. I forgot the name, Ray something. You can look in the description, find the name. So he examined the bodies, and it's so horrific. It's so sad what he did to this woman. He basically ambushed her and that baby. You know, this is so sad. So we're gonna listen to this. We're just gonna focus on what the chief examiner had to say on day 5, and day 5 was Friday. And what you do is you hit the like button, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Tell me what you think of this whole trial. Have you been following it? Did you hear about it before the trial happened? And also, if you need to reach out to me, you can find my email in the description. If you need a coaching and dating, love, relationship, or you need to reach out to me for a viewer's request, or you just need to reach out to me for something, you need to speak to me, personally. No problem. So just emails in the description. We go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get it.
We've jotted down where the exhibit number 81 was at.
And I forgot to say the speed is going to be 1.25 on this.
So, having said that, your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Dr. Ray Fernandez to the stand.
And by the way, and to that, there was no objection from any of the parties with regard to that transition. Is that correct, Mr. Payne?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, very good.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr.
And for the record, ADA Vigil doing the direct examination for the state, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. Your full name?
I'm Dr. Ray Fernandez.
All right, thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please go around the court border up to a couple of steps there and take a seat, pull it up, and be ready when you are. Thank you.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Good afternoon. Can you please state your name for the record?
I'm Dr. Ray Fernandez, Rayfernandez.
And what's your current occupation?
I'm a medical doctor. I retired July 2020 as the county medical examiner for Nueces County. Now I practice as an independent contractor, self-employed.
And what was your occupation back on April 2018?
April 2018, I was the chief medical examiner for Nueces County in Corpus Christi, Texas.
And would you tell us what educational background and professional training you have that qualifies you as a medical pathologist?
I graduated from Del Mar College and University of Texas in Austin. I completed medical school, University of Texas Health Science Center in 1989, San Antonio, Texas. In 1990, I completed a hospital internship in Philadelphia, Frankfurt Hospital. It was working 6 months with patients with medical problems, 6 months with patients with surgical problems. It was a rotating internship. 90 to 94, I completed a hospital pathology residency. That was at University of California, Irvine. I was working in the hospital lab with other doctors there that are pathologists, examining samples that come to the lab and doing autopsies on patients that die at the hospital. 94 to 95, I completed what's called a fellowship, forensic pathology fellowship. That was at the medical examiner office in Miami, Florida. 95 to 2002, I was employed as a medical examiner in Miami, Florida. 2002, became employed as a medical examiner in Dallas. And then in 2003, moved back to my hometown, Corpus Christi, and became the county medical examiner at that time.
And I guess, can you explain to the court what is an autopsy?
An autopsy is a laboratory procedure. It involves looking at the outside of the body for changes and injuries on the outside of the body. And then it involves making a incision on the top of the head area, exposing the cranial cavity. It involves making a Y incision on the chest and the abdomen, exposing the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity. And then the organs in the cranial cavity and the chest cavity, abdominal cavity are all examined. They're removed, they're weighed, they're looked at for disease or for trauma. And then samples can be collected for drug testing also. And a report is completed, a autopsy report, and it lists the findings and the opinion as far as the of those findings, interpreting the cause of death and manner of death.
And how many autopsies have you performed throughout your career?
Probably about 8,000.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness real quick?
You may.
So I'm showing you what's been marked as case exhibit 528 and 529. Do you recognize these documents?
Yes, I do.
Were these reports done in the normal course of business for the Mistress County Medical Examiner's Office?
That's correct.
And were they done near or at the time of when you performed the autopsy?
That's right.
Does State's Exhibit 25 very inaccurately represent the autopsy you conducted on Grizelda Hernandez on April 10th of 2018?
528 and 529?
528, correct.
528. Yes, this has the findings for that case. That's right.
And then does State's Exhibit 529 fairly and accurately represent the autopsy you performed on Dominic Fernandez back on April 10th of 2018?
That's correct.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm tendering to defense for any objections. And I move to admit into evidence State's Exhibit 528 and 529.
Any objections, Mr. Payne?
No, okay, Your Honor.
To either one, is that correct? All right, they are admitted.
Now, Dr. Fernandez, you mentioned you work in Nueces County. Is there a reason why you were asked to conduct an examination of these two individuals that were from Webb County?
Yes, Nueces County, several times, they'll help out some adjacent.
603, you right. He does kind of have that look. He fit the job. Resume. I see you, Lisa, up in there. And Jack in the house, mod on deck. Resume.
Counties, surrounding counties, and if they've had an agreement in the past where Webb County was short on staff, they would send some of the cases to Nueces County and they would handle them. They handle that, and they also handle other cases from other counties that don't have an autopsy facility or medical examiner office.
And what procedures, if any, were taken when it came to transporting the bodies from one county to the next?
Each of the cases that comes in with the order or authorization for that case to be autopsied, and then once the case is brought in, it's assigned a case number that's unique for that case, and it's only used for that case.
And what anything did you do when you first received the bodies?
It was external examination, noted to look at the surface of the body. And then there was identifying marks and scars that were noted. And then there was evidence of injury that was noted. And then an internal examination completed.
So, I guess, I'm requesting the court's permission to publish State's Exhibit 528.
Go ahead. Doctor, is that screen on?
I see the screen in front of me, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
So, is this the autopsy report that you performed for Grizelda Hernandez?
Yes, that's true.
And when was it conducted?
This was April 10th, 2018.
Okay. What findings did you make as far as upon first receiving the body?
I made a notation that there was multiple sharp force injuries, approximately 27 stab wound type injuries. The stab wound injuries are the ones where the wound depth is generally deeper than what the wound is on the surface. That's what the classification is for the stab wound. It's a sharp force injury.
Were there any other types of injuries other than stab wounds?
Yes, there were some injuries that we would call incised wounds, or you might call them a slash type wound, where they're longer along the surface than the depth of the wound is.
So let me ask you this. You said she had approximately 27 stab wounds. Can you tell us where and how many stab wounds she had on the specific parts on her body?
Yes, I can, with referring back to my autopsy. I had noted 7 Stab wounds, cluster of 7 at the back of the neck. I noted 3 stab wounds at the back left side of the head, 3 stab wounds at the back of the left shoulder, 3 stab wounds at the back of the left upper arm, and 1 to the left upper back, 1 stab wound to the right collarbone area, and 1 stab wound to the left collarbone area. 3 stab wounds about the front of the neck and including the sides of the neck, the left and right side. A stab wound at the top of the left shoulder, a stab wound at the left upper arm, a stab wound at the left forearm, an incise wound at the left side of the face, 2 stab wounds at the back of the left hand, an incise wound at the left wrist that also had the underlying left wrist was fractured, a stab wound at the right cheek of the face, a stab wound at the left corner of the mouth, incise wound that went parallel along where the earlobe is.
Now, what other findings, other than these wounds, what other findings did you make on Grizelda Hernandez?
Ladies and gentlemen, you hear this? This man was in a rage. He really did not like her. He hated her. He hated that baby. He hated everything about her. That is a rage. Ooh. And then he's just sitting there all calm. Resume.
The other finding noted was the pallor, P-A-L-L-O-R, of the internal organs. The internal organs were pale.
You got a point, 603. 2018, so much for a speedy trial. I noticed that a lot with a lot of these trials. And it's like the time that it happened, I'm like, now you're just getting to it? But then again, maybe, 603, because at the time, the COVID, the pandemic, so maybe that was why everything slowed down. So everything is like backed up in trials, I guess. I don't know. All right, let's get back to it.
And what causes this?
That's one of the findings you'll see when there's been blood loss, the organs turn pale.
Were there any other findings that you found?
Yes, sir.
In the body?
Yes, and there's an area on the surface of the brain that we call the subarachnoid, S-U-B-A-R-A-C-H-N-O-I-D. That's on the surface of the brain. And scattered areas on the surface of the brain have hemorrhage, H-E-M-O-R-R-H-A-G-E, bleeding on the surface of the brain in different areas.
And how could this occur?
The bleeding on the brain is from blunt trauma. It's from impact, the head impacting an object or surface, or some object or surface impacting against the head.
This contributes to her death?
Yes, that would be contributing to that.
And so what did you determine to be the cause of death for Grizelda Hernandez?
The cause of death was multiple sharp force injuries.
Can the 27 stab wounds be described as such? The approximately 27 stab wounds, can they be described as such?
Yes, the stab wounds are sharp force injuries.
Did you do an external examination of Grizelda Hernandez?
Yes, that's on page 2.
Yes. This one right here?
Yes.
Okay. And did you document your observations after doing an external examination?
Yes, they were noted in the report.
And in regards to an external examination, what evidence of injuries did you observe?
That was started to list on page 2 at the bottom. That's where the section evidence of injury began. And I had, at that area, I noted that the back of the left forearm had a 1/4 inch red area. The mid back of the left forearm, the part of it had a 1/2 inch area where the surface had been had an excoriation, E-X-C-O-R-I-T-I-O-N, a scratch along the surface, and then above this was another 3/4 inch excoriation or scratch.
So, can you explain to the jury how the left cerebral surface could have received this subarachnoid hemorrhage?
That would be that part of the body having blood trauma impacting against the surface, or something, or an object impacting against that part of the body.
So would it be similar to the right side? Because I believe I asked you the left. How about the right cerebral surface?
Yes, that's the surface of the left could impact against something, or the more toward the right can also impact towards something.
And what type of object can cause that type of trauma to the head?
What type of what?
Object can cause that type of trauma to the head.
Oh, that's blunt force. It's not a sharp object because it's a blunt object hitting that part of the head.
Okay, and did you do an internal examination of Grizelda?
Yes, there's an internal examination that was noted. That's correct. That's on page 4.
Right here?
Yes, it starts there.
Okay. And so you went ahead and you documented your observations, right?
Yes, sir.
And what did you observe in regards to your internal examination?
The internal organs, those were the organs consistent with the 44-year-old female. Those organs, aside from the trauma, they didn't have any evidence of tumors or disease.
And was a radiographic examination performed of Grizelda?
Yes, that's right.
And can you explain to us what a radiographic examination is?
That's a radiograph. Those are X-rays that are done. They're standard X-rays. They're done anytime someone's been shot, looking for metal bullets, projectiles. Anytime someone has sharp force injuries, looking for portions of a knife or a sharp object that may be broken off in the body, they show up on X-ray. They can also help to identify fractures, and this one identified a fracture at the left wrist.
So you just testified that it revealed a fracture of the left wrist, is that correct?
That's true.
Is her left wrist being fractured consistent with anything?
That would be consistent with the defense type of injury. Someone blocking an attack with that part of the body can end up having that area fractured.
And as part of your autopsy, was a toxicology test performed?
Yes, sir.
Did you perform that test?
Yeah, it was done by a DPS accredited lab called National Medical Services, and they did testing.
Okay. And was this done under your direction?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was there anything that would have alarmed you, alerted you?
They test for drugs, alcohol, drugs, abuse, and the testing was non-detected.
Nothing was detected.
That's correct.
Okay. And did you sign off as the medical examiner who performed this autopsy of Grizelda?
Yes, that's my name on the report.
Let me ask you this. What was the fatal blow to Grizelda Hernandez?
The injuries that happened at the neck, at the left side of the neck, right side of the neck, those stab wounds, they cut through the skin, the underlying soft tissue, and cut the blood vessels in that area, on the left and right side of it. It's a vein in that area and a carotid artery in that area, and both of them were cut, transected on both sides. So every time the heart would beat, there would be blood coming from those wounds.
What can you say that term? That
Transected.
Can you? What is that?
That's where you cut it and it's in two, or essentially two parts.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness? So I'm going to show you what's been marked. It's pre-admitted, but I just want to show you. And there's several exhibits for the record. 430.
When these lowlifes be in court, I be dying to know what kind of notes are they taking. He was just taking some notes. What could you possibly write? You're done, sir. They have all the evidence that you was there at the scene of the crime. This is a woman that you had a baby with you didn't want to be bothered with. And all of a sudden she pops up dead in the area that you work? Really? What kind of notes could you be writing? Just curious. Resume.
13 through 415, 419, 421 through 425, 427 through 430, 432, 434 through 438, 440, 441, 443, and 444. Do you recognize it after you've gone through them? Without saying anything, do you recognize it?
Yes.
And Your Honor, just to give a fair warning to the members of the family and the media, some of these photos that I'm going to request to publish are graphic in nature.
So, okay, good to go.
publishing was been marked as State's Exhibit 413.
They've been admitted, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. They've been pre-admitted. Did you take this photograph?
Yes, that's correct.
After conducting your autopsy, what do you observe here in State's Exhibit 413?
This is a photograph that shows the back surface of the body, and there is some red discoloration at the right hand side of the photograph. That's where blood is what we call avidity. Blood is settling on the back part of the body. After a person dies, blood tends to settle in the dependent areas, and if they're on their back, the lower part of the back generally gets that avidity. The back of the head, you start to see there's an injury there, the stab wound. It's not well seen on this one, but you start to see that there's some injury at the back of the neck.
Okay. I'm now showing what's been marked as State's Exhibit 414. Can you tell us what's depicted on this photograph on State's Exhibit 414?
Yes, this is a photograph that shows the front surface of the body. You see some of the face with the injuries, sharp force injuries to the left side of the face, the left corner of the mouth, and also at the left wrist, the left hand, and left upper arm. You start to see some of the injuries.
And is that how the body came to you initially when you first received it at your office?
The body was with the clothing.
Just exactly like that?
And had clothing.
Okay. I'm now showing you State's Exhibit 415. Can you tell us, after doing your autopsy, what you observed in this photograph?
This is a photograph that shows the front of the left wrist and left hand. The front of the left wrist area has a elongated wound it's what we call an incised wound at the left wrist, and underneath there, that's the area where the wrist is fractured. In that area, underneath that incised wound.
Right here?
Yes, sir. And then
She fought. She fought. She fought to stay alive. But this monster, he wasn't giving up. This man really hated her and that baby. Wow. All right, let's get back to it.
the palm of the hand, near the thumb area, in that area, there's a stab wound there that is coming out on the palm surface of the hand, but it connects with the stab wound on the back of the hand. In other words, it's a continuous injury from on the back side to the front side. It's perforating through that part of the hand.
So what you're trying to say is it went completely through the hand.
Went in and out. That's right.
I'm showing you states exhibit.
Yes, these are photographs. This photograph shows the back of the hand with a stab wound at the back of the left wrist, and then another one at the base of the thumb area on the left hand.
Okay. I'm going to show states exhibit 421. Can you tell us what this is?
This is a photograph that has the clothing that has been on the decedent, and it has been removed, and it's photographed with the case number there.
This is the clothing that Grizelda Hernandez was wearing when she was first brought to your office.
That's right.
Okay. Well, let me show you states exhibit 422. Before I ask you to tell us what you observed, is that how she first came to your office?
That's correct.
Okay, and what can you tell us about states exhibit 422? What do you observe here?
This photograph shows the back of the body. The back surface of the body is the clothing that she has on has some what looks like vegetation on it, and then also there's the red discoloration. It's soiled with blood. The clothing that she had on.
When you mean soiled by blood, the clothing, what do you mean by that?
That means the wounds that she had on her body were bleeding when the heart pumps. The wounds bleed, and they soil the clothing.
Would you say it was soaked?
This clothing, yes, it was. It's a type that has a significant amount of blood on it.
Okay. Showing you states exhibit 423. What do you observe here after doing your autopsy?
This is the front of the body, showing the lower leg area and the upper leg area, showing that it has some soiling also.
By soiling, you mean this area right here and up here?
Yes, the discolored areas, that's right.
Okay. I'm showing you states exhibit 424 now. What do you observe in this photograph?
This is a photograph that shows the upper part of the body, that shows the surface of the body. has areas where there's been blood that's been deposited on the skin surface and also on the clothing.
May I ask why are her bags and these little brown paper bags?
The cases that come to the office, several times they come to the office and the law enforcement might request fingernail swabs or nail clippings, and so they'll bag the hands prior to that being done.
Great question, 603. I don't get it. Why do they think that killing the person they cheated with is going to make it all go away? What was his thoughts? What did he thought this was going to go? How he thought he wasn't going to get caught? I don't understand these criminals. Like I said a million times. 80s up, 70s, 60s, you can get away with murder because you didn't have all this technology, all this DNA, all these cell phones, pin towers and stuff. But now you cannot get away with stuff. Everybody has a camera. If you don't have a camera, your neighbor has one, so they know. Just like when after he killed her, he went home to change, and the neighbor had a camera. They saw when he left that morning in his uniform. Then he gets out his car with shorts on. Then he goes back in his car and changes into another uniform. I mean, how do you think you're going to get away with this? It doesn't work that way. I guess they just get so angry, they're not even thinking clearly. Or maybe they just want to go to jail. I don't know. I really don't get it. And the sad part about this whole thing is, this little angel right here, let's get into the angel. This little angel suffered, because if I'm correct, I might have the time wrong, but this little angel here suffered about 2 weeks before this incident. Because 2 weeks before, he wanted to see his child. And that's when he injected the child with something. So ever since then was going to the doctor, and the baby couldn't walk. The baby could not walk, couldn't understand. What was the child was bit by a spider or something? She stepped away. She came to see him with the baby. He said he wanted to see his son. Now all of a sudden he wants to see his son. That should have been a red flag for her right there. So she go and see him. She steps to the car to go and get some snacks. And when she comes back, all of a sudden her baby's screaming and hollering. And the only person who's with is with the father. So what did he do? This is so sad. All right, let's get back to it.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 425 now. What do you see right here? What can you tell us as far as what you observed here?
This is a photograph that shows the right side of the face, more toward the right ear area. And you see the area where there's separation there between where the ear is attached to the face. That part of the ear has become detached from the right side of the face because of that slash wound at that location has separated it.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 427. What do you observe here in this photograph?
This is a photograph that shows the ruler at the center of the photograph. Above the ruler, toward the center front of the neck, there slightly toward the right side. That's the one on the left, and then there's one on the right, and then there's one in the center. These are wounds of the neck area that injure the underlying blood vessels on the right side of the neck and the left side of the neck.
What does that mean?
There's trauma to those vessels. They're cut, and those are vital areas. Those would be the type of injuries that are fatal.
And is this an inside wound or is that a stab wound?
These are stab wounds at the front of the neck, going toward the right side of the neck, and stab wound at the left side of the neck.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 428. What do you observe in this photograph?
This is a photograph that shows the left corner of the mouth, shows the left face. The left corner of the mouth, there's a vertical stab wound, and then at the right at the left corner of the mouth, near the lower lip area, there's a smaller horizontal incise wound.
Which one are you referring to? Is it this one?
That's the larger one, and then there's the other one. Keep moving toward the other way.
Okay. Right here?
Let's see. It's at the corner of the ruler. Just follow the other corner. There, go upward. Up. There, to the left.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 429 now. What did you observe after doing your examination on State's Exhibit 429?
This is a photograph that shows the left side of the face, the left cheek area that has a area where there's a vertical cut, slash there at the left cheek.
Would this be consistent with a slash, or excuse me, an incise wound or a stab wound?
Yes, it would be consistent with the incise wound left side of face. I labeled it as J on my report.
And I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 450. What can you tell us that you can observe in this photograph?
This is a wound that's also showing the left the neck area and the upper collarbone area above the ruler, and the wounds that are stab wounds going into those sides of the body.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 432. What can you observe on this photograph?
This is a photograph that shows more of the left upper shoulder, and it shows a stab wound above where the ruler is, and then at the top of the shoulder, another stab wound.
And on State's Exhibit 434, what do you observe?
This is a photograph that shows the upper back, mainly the back of the left shoulder, the back upper back area, and it shows a cluster of several wounds close together at that area.
And what does that signify? Like in your professional experience, you've done this a lot. What do these types of injuries tell you?
The injuries with them being clustered close together would be consistent with them happening one right after the other, repeatedly stabbing into that area.
Now I'm showing you State's Exhibit 435. What location of her body is on this exhibit?
This is a photograph that shows the upper back of the neck, at the baseline of the hair. The hair has been shaved off the back, lower back of the head, so the wounds can be seen, and there's a cluster of wounds at the upper back of the neck, stab wounds.
And what does that tell you? That those little clusters right there in the back of the neck?
That would be consistent with those happening rapidly one after the other into that area.
Would these type of injuries contribute to her death? Would have contributed to her death?
Yes, these are contributing to the death.
And then I'm showing you State's Exhibit 436. What do you see on State's Exhibit 436 that you can tell us?
This is a photograph after the hair on the scalp, behind and above the left ear, behind the left ear and the upper back of the neck. The hair's been shaved, and the stab wounds, the cluster of these several stab wounds, can be seen.
Can you count how many of these wounds in these little clusters that you can tell us?
On the photograph here, you see at least 6. 3 of them above the ruler, and then another 3 behind the ear.
Tell me if I
That would be 1, 2, and 3, and then 1, 2, 3 here, total of 6.
and how about these right here?
That's more toward the back of the neck.
Okay, so 6 in this particular area right here in
Yes,
the back
sir.
of her head. How about this one? What is that, an incise wound or stab wound?
That was one of the ones that we looked at earlier? On the left collarbone.
Collarbone?
Going
Okay.
down there, yes, sir.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 437 now. What can you tell us that you observed on State's Exhibit 437?
This is a photograph that shows the right side of the neck, the right side of the jaw, and the right ear. It shows the cut at the right jaw that you're pointing to, one above the ruler, and then the one we saw in front of the ear.
Would these be classified as incise wounds?
The 2 here would be the stab wounds, and then the one in front of the ear would be the inside wound.
Okay, so stab wound, incise wound.
Yeah, the one in front of the ear, going up and down in front of the ear. And these 2 in front of the one in front of the ruler and the right jaw, that would be stab wounds.
Okay. I'm showing you State's Exhibit 438. Can you tell us what you observed in this photograph after doing your examination?
Yes, this is a photograph showing the back of the left shoulder, the back of the left upper arm, and it's showing the cluster of about 6 stab wounds at that location.
And in this little cluster, can you count how many wounds she has, incise or stab wounds? So
This is 1, 2, 3. That one is the 4th one, and 5 and 6 right here. And then you have a 7th one over there. There's one actually on front of the shoulder, back the other way, toward the bottom of the photograph. Very bottom.
Would you have permission just to print it out for us, Your Honor? Would that be fine? Oh, this one.
Yes, sir,
I'm
you found
sorry.
it. You found it.
So, need more light. That's fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
7. And this may have seen on another photograph.
Okay. So just from here to here, we counted.
I'd say 7.
I'm showing you what's in marked as State's Exhibit 440.
Yes, this is a photograph that shows the wound you saw earlier on the right cheek. the one on the right neck, and then the one, now there's one at the right, above the right collarbone, where the ruler is.
States Exhibit 441.
This is a closer up photograph of the wounds behind the left ear, showing the ruler, right above the ruler is the stab wound.
This one.
Yes, sir. It has a flattened edge toward the left and a pointed edge toward where your pen is. That would be the flat edge, and that would be the sharp edge.
States Exhibit 443.
This is a stab wound that's through the right arm, and at the front of the right forearm, it continues, and it actually comes out there, pointed in there. Comes in where you're pointing, and then comes out, the tip of it comes out there. So this was in and out wound of the arm.
So whatever caused this injury went all the way through.
Went all the way, that's right, it continued through.
And finally, States Exhibit 444. What can you tell us that you observed here?
This is a photograph where you can see both the wounds now, the one side and the other side, where it went through and through, in and out.
So this is a better angle of the previous exhibit that I showed you, where it goes from one side into the other, out the other.
This one shows both of the wounds.
So it's one object coming through and then exiting the other side.
That's correct.
So I'm gonna go ahead now, and so I'm gonna go ahead and show you States Exhibit 529. So this is your autopsy report pertaining to who?
This is Dominique A. Fernandez.
And when did you do this autopsy report?
This was April 10th, 2018.
So let me ask you this: what findings did you make? And then I guess you can tell us what findings you made, and then we can break it down.
Yes, sir. I noted under findings there was abrasions. Those are scrapes. There's scrapes of abrasions on the back of the right hand. There was a stab wound injury at the left side of the neck that transected the blood vessels at that left side of the neck, the carotid vessels. There was a stab wound at the mid front of the chest that went up to the left collarbone and cut part of the collarbone. And then the internal organs, they had pallor, what we call generalized pallor.
So real quick on that, you mentioned Grizelda had pallor of the internal organs, and then Dominic had generalized pallor. Is there a difference between the two?
Bless you. They both had diffuse. This one that was just noted more pronounced.
Okay. And what causes that?
The blood volume in adults not the same as the blood volume. Bless you. The blood volume in an adult's not the same as the 1-year-old. The 1-year-old has a lot lower blood volume, and when the organs had lost the blood, they were more pronounced as far as pale. The adult has 5 liters of blood. The child would have maybe about 1 liter of blood.
And approximately how many stab wounds did Dominic have after doing your autopsy?
The stab wound was at the left neck area, and then the stab wound at the mid front of the chest.
So 2 stab wounds?
Those were the 2 that were noted.
And can you show us on your body where they were located?
The stab wound on the left side of the neck went through the left side of the neck where the carotid vessel is and the vein is, and then the stab wound at the chest was at the mid chest area.
And then so what what does underlying transaction of left carotid vessel? I hope I said that right.
Carotid vessels.
Carotid.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to us what that is?
When the stab wound goes through the body, it comes through the skin and the soft tissue, and then below that area are the blood vessels. So the underlying blood vessel, what's below there, is transected, which cut in 2 on the left carotid vessels. There's an artery and a vein there, and cut through the artery and vein.
Was that the cause of his death?
Yes, that's right.
Do you know if the heart was punctured?
The chest wound did not go into the chest cavity. It went into the soft tissue area and into the collarbone. Did not go to injure the heart, didn't injure the lung, didn't go into the cavity.
So what you're trying to say is he missed the heart, or this person missed the heart.
That wound did not injure the heart or lungs.
And the stab wounds that Dominic sustained, how would you categorize them? How would you describe the stab wounds?
Those are forceful injuries, and the neck injury is a fatal injury. Every time the heart was pumped, the person would be losing blood from that area.
And did you do an external examination of Dominic?
Yes, that's listed on page 2.
Okay. And what can you tell us about his external examination?
The child appeared healthy, well nourished, well developed, and those were the general external examination, general external findings. There was identified marks and scars noted, and then evidence of injury noted.
Okay, so he was a healthy young boy then.
That's correct.
So let me ask you about that. You mentioned about that you observed some identifying marks and scars. What exactly did you observe?
The front of the lower legs had some irregular scars. The outer surface of the left thigh had an area that was kind of what I described as nodule shaped, 3/4 inch. And then when that was examined further, it had some bleeding underneath there that was, it looked like it already had aged and had been there prior to the injuries that happened that were resulting in the death.
Would you know more or less how long prior?
No, I couldn't give you the exact age of it. It could be consistent with days, but I couldn't tell you exactly how long.
I'm showing you States Exhibit 446. Are you familiar with this photograph?
Yes, sir.
It's been pre-edited on. So, a couple more questions before I get to this. Can you explain to the jury what a subcutaneous hematoma is?
That's where you have the surface is the skin itself, and then when you look underneath the skin, you go to an area that's called subcutaneous, below the skin. Cutaneous would be skin, and then subcutaneous would be below skin, and that's the area where the hematoma is. That's where the collection of blood would have been.
And would you be able to explain to the jury how this subcutaneous hematoma could occur?
There's an injury that happened to that part of the body. As far as how it came about, I couldn't tell you how it came about.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked as States Exhibit 446. What can you tell us about this photograph, doctor?
Yes, there's a photograph of the left thigh showing the area where there's a nodule and some discoloration there.
Does this photograph represent your observations that you just testified to earlier, right now?
That's true.
Did you receive any special instructions as to further examining this particular area on, let's depict it here in this photograph?
No.
This is bad. Yeah, okay. Approximately how deep was Dominic's chest wound?
The chest wound that I had to refer back to my report to see what I had noted. That depth was about an inch.
And then how deep was the wound to Dominic's neck?
The wound to the neck area, that one was about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inches.
And again, you said that the fatal wound was the neck one, the neck injury.
That's correct.
Look at the lowlife's expression. Just look at him. Wonder what you're thinking. I wonder what you was writing over there too. You're done. Shouldn't have been cheating on your wife. What, you thought you was gonna get rid of her and the baby and everything be fine, go back to normal lives? Doesn't work like that way, sir. You're an officer. You should have known better. You should have known this wasn't gonna work out. You was gonna get caught. But I guess your rage and your hatred for her, it just took over. Satan took over. Reason. And I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on here with the comments, but it's not coming up on the StreamYard. So If I'm not pulling it up, don't think I'm being rude. It's just not coming up on the screen. Reason.
Was it deep enough to cut the carotid?
That's true.
That's not true.
Move on. Did you do an internal examination of Dominic?
Yes, that's listed on page 3.
Let me flip it to page 3. What can you tell us about his internal examination?
Aside
Lisa, I saw your comment, but it's on the other screens, not on the StreamYards. You said he looks aggravated. He kind of got the look like he should plan another way to kill her. Maybe that was the wrong way to do it. He should have did it the other way. Isn't that sick and twisted? Resume. Not much more longer, ladies and gentlemen. Resume. Oh, and I typed in, I said tomorrow, either early morning or early afternoon before all the great fireworks, because it's 4th of July. I'm going out. I don't know everybody else is. Enjoying my fireworks. But in the daytime, I'm going to show when the sister was on the stand, because I never did get a chance to see that. We can learn a lot about it. All right. Resume.
from the injuries that were noted in the pale organs, the organs were healthy and consistent with that for a child that age.
So let me ask you this: as part of your autopsy, did you have to cut the stomach of Dominic?
Part of the examination is involved looking at the gastrointestinal tract and opening the stomach. That is true.
And you did that.
Yes, that's right.
What did you find within his stomach?
The stomach was not empty. It had about 10 cc's, 10 mils.
I cannot pull up the comments. I just happened to see Gigi said, my baby turned 16, the sweet 16, and happy birthday to her and many blessings to her. Many blessings. And she got an awesome mom. Thank you for sharing that. God bless, God bless. I love hearing stuff like that. The sweet 16, the sweet 16. All right, let's get back to it.
Of a meal that had been masticated and chewed and it was tan colored.
Could that be consistent with chicken nuggets?
It's possible.
And how long had he last eaten before? How long had it been since he had last eaten?
The stomach may take about an hour to empty solids, so it may have been within an hour or 2 hours that the child had eaten because there was still solid material there. That's in general.
Okay. And was a toxicology test requested?
Yes, sir.
Did you perform it?
This was collected and done by the same lab, National Medical Services.
It was done under your direction?
That's right.
Anything alarming? Anything that
They
caught attention?
They tested for alcohol, other drugs of abuse, and it was non-detected.
And did you sign off on this medical report that you performed on Dominic?
Yes, that's my signature.
Right here?
Yes.
Okay. Do they test for any foreign substances or poisons when that toxicology exam is requested?
The routine testing is what they did. Routine testing, heroin, fentanyl, cocaine, alcohol, marijuana, all of those types of drugs. They don't do a testing for exotic drugs unless there's a request for it.
And there was no request for testing of foreign substance or poison?
No, this is routine testing.
Okay. And so again, I think when you first get the bodies, what's the first thing you do? Do you photograph the bodies?
During the time that the body is, the external examination is done, there's photographs taken. During after the incision is made on the body and the organs are examined, if there's other injuries internally, some of those can also be photographed, and then X-rays can also be taken.
So I'm approaching and I'm showing you certain, so what's been marked as States Exhibit 447, they've been pre-edited, Your Honor. 448, 454, 449, 450, 451, 452, 453, 455. Do you recognize them? Go ahead and review.
This medical examiner said he
Yes,
did
sir.
8,000.
You're right, ma'am.
8,000.
Your Honor, once again, just warning, we'll publish some photos that may be graphic for the family and the media.
I know he's happy to be retired.
So, our first published was been marked as State's Exhibit 447. 447. Is that how Dominic first arrived at your office?
That's correct. This is the child with the clothing on the body.
And how would you describe his clothing?
There's different areas of it where it's discolored and has as it's moist and it's soiled with blood at the upper area.
Now I'm showing you has been marked as Exhibit 448. Is that
This is
Dominic flipped over?
yes, this is the surface, the back surface of the showing the body with the clothing and the different areas of the clothing have some discoloration.
And do you see blood on this picture?
Yes, sir.
Where at?
There's some that's noted on the top of the back and also on the sheet there. Yes, right.
How about his pants?
Some of that may be soiling from blood and maybe urine. I can't tell you from the photograph.
Okay. And then I'm showing you has been marked as State's Exhibit 454. Was that the clothing that Dominic was wearing?
603 is mad. Say, I want to slap her, make him look. I know exactly how you feel. Yep, make him look and see what you did. No, he don't want to look. It's not gonna go away.
When he came into your office?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So I'm gonna zoom in, doctor. Do you see any incision or any cut or tear on the shirt that Dominic was wearing when he came in?
Usually they have an arrow pointing to it. I'm not. It's hard to tell because of the soiling if there's one there, but I don't recall whether there was a defect there or not.
When you mean by arrow, that means if you had put an arrow there, there would have been.
To highlight it. That's
Okay,
right.
but since there's none on this photograph, what does that mean?
That means I probably didn't see one there.
Let's move on. I'm showing you now has been marked as State's Exhibit 449. Zoom out. What can you tell us as depicted on this photograph?
There's a photograph that shows the back surface of the body after the clothing has been removed.
No injuries on this part, right?
The area here is intact.
Okay. Now I'm showing you has been marked as State's Exhibit 450. What do you observe in this exhibit?
This is a photograph that shows the front of the body after the clothing's been removed, and you start to see at the very upper chest, the area where there's a stab wound. Yes, and then above that, another area where there's another stab wound at the neck.
And you had said earlier that this was a fatal blow.
That's correct.
I'm gonna show a more.
What 603 said? I like that. My kids ain't carrying that last name. What 603 says, I hope his wife divorced him and his children changed their last name. Bingo, you right. We're not walking around carrying that name. We don't have nothing attached to Satan. Changing everybody's names. New identity, new life. Exactly. But she did divorce him. And I think she's a 603, I think she's a patrol boarder too. She does the same job as him. But in another location now. I don't know where she's at, but she did divorce the monster. I think how it went, like, he cheated on her, then they broke up, and he conned her to come back. He love bombed her to come back, and then she came back, and then here he go again, cheating again, and got this woman pregnant. He ain't crap. It was somewhere, I think I read or heard something like that, and I wasn't surprised, because I said something about this type of dude. You can look at him. You can tell he has lots of women. You know, probably wasn't even faithful. His wife probably wasn't even faithful when she was dating him. You know, that's what dating is all about. You getting to know the person, see if you want to be the person. If you dating a man and he's constantly, disrespecting you, he's not on time, he barely around you, or he cheats on you a lot, don't think a ring is going to change it. It's not going to change it. So when you get that ring, you sign up to this. Then they're going to look at you like, well, why are you surprised? I was doing this before. Oh, well, let's get back to it.
Close-up photo now. State Exhibit 451. Can you describe this photograph for us, what you observed?
Yes, this is a photograph that shows the upper part of the body. At the mid part of the photograph, just above the ruler, that's where the horizontal wound is. It's a stab wound. Yes, sir. And then the other wound is at the front of the neck, and it's going to the left side of the neck.
I'm showing you State Exhibit 452 now, Doctor. Do you recall which wound this was on Dominic?
Yes, this is a close-up wound, or close-up photograph of the wound that's on the chest. It's about a 3/4 inch stab wound at the front of the chest.
And this is a stab wound, not an incise wound.
That's right.
I'm showing you State Exhibit 453 now. A close-up of which wound is this, Doctor?
This is a close-up of the other wound. That's at the upper left side of the neck, and that was about an inch and just over an inch, about an inch and a quarter inch.
And so somebody with this type of injury, would they die immediately or would it take time for them to die?
This is not a instant death. This is a rapid death. Every time that heart beats, there's blood loss from that major blood vessel. So within about 5 minutes, the child would be in shock, and then probably within 10 minutes at the most, the child would be dead by then. It's rapid, but it's not instant.
And finally, I'm showing you has been marked as State Exhibit 455. Are those the abrasions in the back of the hand that you referred to earlier?
Yes, sir. There's areas where the surface has been scraped, what we call abrasions, at that part of the body.
And are these fresh wounds or?
They're recent because of the red discoloration of them. I couldn't tell you the exact time of day they happened, but they're recent.
They're fresh.
Fresh, that's right.
Okay. And it. In your professional opinion, as a medical examiner who's done this, I think you said over 8,000 times, in regards to both of these victims and the injuries they sustained, what do you believe would have been the cause? What caused these injuries?
Sharp forces. They're sharp, something that's got a sharp edge to it. I can't tell you if it's double-edged or just single-edged, but it's multiple sharp force injuries.
Were the wounds intentionally caused?
The number of the wounds where they're inflicted, this is death at the hands of another.
In your professional experience, based on these injuries, I guess, what does that tell you?
The area of the neck was targeted on both the child and the adult. That's a vital area. So it'd be consistent with someone that has some knowledge that that's a vital area and to target that area.
And what did you do with the bodies after you completed your autopsies?
The bodies were released to whichever funeral home was working with the county to transport those bodies.
Thank you, Dr. Fernandez. We pass the witness, Your Honor.
I don't have any questions, Your Honor. Thank you. Dr. Fernandez, you are excused for your go to business. Have a seat. Subject to the recalling of Detective Reyes, I believe, for Wednesday, right?
That's correct, Your Honor. That's all we have for today.
We're going to, thank you, sir. We're going to call it a day today after that. Remember that as you go through this, what is it going to be? 4 days, 5 days? Let's see. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll be back Wednesday.
Someone help me, tell me, what the heck could he be possibly writing right there? Okay, well, that's just the end of it. I just wanted to show the medical examiner what he said about how was the death. Oh gosh, this is so sad. That poor baby. This man went into a rage. He he got her to come out there, and he hid, and then he attacked her. What a shame. All right, I'm sorry I wasn't able to put up the comments, wasn't able to see it. But thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for engaging. I appreciate it. And shout out to the replay watchers for watching this stuff in the replay. And like I said, either early morning or early afternoon.